Hi everyone and welcome to part 4 in this coloured pencil tutorial series. Everything that you need to know will be listed down below in the description, including all the other parts if you've just joined me here now, and everything that I've used to create this drawing. So let's just get started. So for this part we're going to draw the left ear rather than the nose, just because my hand will be leaning on this bit to draw this bit and I don't want to smudge all this work that we'll have done when we can just start furthest from the left and prevent that from happening. So as much as I'd love to do the nose, I'm going to start with the ear, which is fun to draw anyway, so yeah. So the first colour that I'm going to use is ivory, and I'll just do this little bit first. Just put the base layer down just up to the edge, and then I'm going to rub away those lines. I've just done my fake tan last night, so please ignore how orange my hands might look today. And then I'm just going to slightly rub out the lines on the edge. And this little whisker here. And I'm just going to colour around that whisker. It's always best, oh, my voice, when doing coloured pencils to try and start from the left as much as you can. If you're right-handed, I suppose if you're left-handed then it's slightly different, isn't it? But because I'm right-handed, I always try and draw like the furthest thing on the left and then gradually make my way across, because it does smudge if you put your hand over it. You can be careful and like try not to smudge it, but it's easier if you just draw from the left, or if you're left-handed, draw from the right. So I'm going to use Nougat now. I've finally got some new pencils, so they're not tiny anymore. And I'm just gonna start drawing in some little first strokes. It does get a bit darker towards the edge, so just gonna just like do a lot of like crisscrossing little first strokes. Some longer, some shorter. It's a really, really miserable day today. Oh, it's like autumn already. Oh, I actually have some good news to share with you as well today. I've not said anything about this yet on Instagram or anything, but I actually handed in my notice for my part-time job, so from next week I'll be full-time, which is amazing. It's what I've wanted to do for ages now, and this means I'll have more time to like do commissions, original pieces, YouTube videos. So yeah, obviously it's quite like a time-consuming job, so even though I was only doing 2 days a week, it's like you need all the time you can get. So yeah, that is like amazing news. And yeah, I worked in a little homeware shop in the town that I live in. It was really nice, I enjoyed it. Just came to a point where I was like, I need all the time that I can get. So yeah. Just going to carry on bringing that nougat up here, following the direction of the fur. It sort of curves around like this. And just on the edge as well. I feel like I'm losing my voice a bit today. I think I'm going to add another colour into this base. It's sort of a bit darker, almost a bit greeny looking, so I'll do that after this nougat. And just where this whisker is, I'm just going to really faintly draw a line on the bottom of it. And just carry on drawing little fur strokes to meet it. I'm just going to sharpen my pencil. That's better. Should have done that in the first place. Oh well. And just a few darker bits here as well. Doing those little triangle shapes, make it look like the furs overlapping each other. And just going to do some strokes above that whisker, slightly draw around the top of it. Just leaving that negative space really lightly. And I'm going to use Warm Grey 2, and I'm just going to use it to draw the rest of that whisker in this white bit. So making, I kind of like follow that to make sure I'm drawing it in the right place, and then I'm going to start just bringing it down. Make sure you've got a really sharp pencil. It's a really light whisker, so it doesn't need to be like pressing on really hard. Like that. It's really subtle. And there is actually like a tiny little whisker here as well. Just add that in. Very, very subtle. And then I'm going to try this out. It might be a risk and it might go terribly wrong, but I'm going to try Olive Brown 10% from the Luminance range. It's just a slightly like warm green colour, and it looks like there's a bit of warm green here, so it might not look right, but I'm going to give it a go. It's really lightly. To be honest, I don't know if that's doing much. Doesn't seem to want to up much pigment. Yeah, I don't think that's actually done much at all. I suppose it has really. I don't know, you might be thinking, what's the point? Oh well, you try these things, don't you? I'm just going to use a bit of dark sepia just to add in a little bit more definition here. Just where that whisker is, just really faintly, just a bit here. And I'm just going to add a bit more here. So it like goes pointing downwards. And then I'm going to just subtly add in some hairs on the edges. Like that. Then there are actually some little darker hairs like in the middle, so I'm just gonna start adding a few, concentrating them in the middle bit of this section of like curl up a bit here. I think that green has made a slight difference, I hope. Right, I think I need a little bit more nougat. Just to add a bit more brown, pressing on slightly harder to these edges. It's a bit better. And a bit more here. Just around this light bit of fur, and I'm just going to add a bit more to the outer bits too. Really just putting my tracing paper off. Hard to get the right angle of my hand for this bit. Looking better. Maybe even a bit more over the middle. It's a lot browner, this section, so making sure to always draw around that whisker. There we go, it's looking a bit more like it now. It's actually very brown. Right, that is looking a lot better. So I'll move on to this bit, and that pencil line is quite strong there, so I'm just gonna dab that away and just lift this bit off. So they're really, really faint. And then I'm going to do the same again with ivory as a base, just drawing around that other whisker and just going to go up to about here. And I'll use nougat again, and I'm just going to draw around this other whisker really faintly. And there is actually two whiskers here, so I'll just lightly draw those in. This is where it gets tricky when there's like two together. But just take your time with it. You want to try and leave like an even space all the way down it so it doesn't look like it gets thinner than thicker and it looks more natural. And I'm just going to add some ivory in between. And I'll just carry on. Oh, there is a whisker here as well actually, before I forget. Just pointing upwards there. Doesn't matter if it's not white, to be honest. Sometimes it's better if it has got a bit of like ivory or warm grey under it, so it's less like in your face and a bit more natural looking. But so yes, that is good there. And then now I'll start adding in some fair strokes to finish this bit off. just sort of following the direction. Just doing little backward strokes mostly, or downwards. Like that. Then there's a few like more defined darker strokes here, like little gaps between the hair. I'm just gonna add that in. It's where it starts to meet the ear here. The exact same as like we did over here. I feel like I just said here so many times. And I'll do one more. Do one at the top like that, a little diamond shape. And then one here. Like that, and then it just looks like there's a couple of hairs crossing over. Then I will join them into this bit. Like that. And even though I don't know if it makes a difference, I'm just going to add a bit more of that olive brown 10%, just so it's consistent. I think it does make a difference, it just slightly changes the tone. Yeah. And then I'm going to use dark sepia again. Oh, I need to sneeze. And I'm just going to carry this darker marking up. So I'm going to do a little one between these two whiskers, just to define it a bit. And then one above it, just so you can see where that whisker starts. And then, actually maybe I should have left that a bit lighter. I'm just going to take a little bit of the colour off. This bit is actually slightly lighter. So it's darker here. And then going to use a tiny little eraser. This is a Faber-Castell Perfection eraser, and it's just got like a little pencil sort of style eraser. I'm just gonna, where it's really dark there, I'm just gonna lift the colour off a bit more. It's normal to make mistakes. That's why I work in such tiny sections, so it's easier to correct it if you do. And I'm just going to use warm grey one just to go over that little section again. The base. Like that. And I'm just going to use nougat to add a couple of strokes. And then here start to add the definition between the whiskers. Like that. This is like one of the most confusing bits to get right, and it'll never look exactly like the picture because it's just fiddly. I'm just gonna add a bit of dark sepia for more definition under this whisker. And under this one actually. And then a tiny bit to this top one. Only the tiniest bit. It just helps them to stand out a little bit more and so they don't get lost. I'll just do the same. On the left hand side of this one. Like that. Right, we're back on track now. And I'm just gonna use nougat again just to further darken up these strokes. If you don't already have one, I really do recommend these little tiny erasers. They're really handy if you make a mistake like that, or what are these? Tombow Mono eraser. I think I might like this one better actually, it's just a bit softer, but either one. You can get them from like Amazon or any sort of art website. And I'm just gonna add a few darker hairs in the middle again with dark sepia. Just concentrating it to the middle of this section. And just a bit meeting this little marking. It's funny because I'm making tutorials to help people draw, but half the time I don't have a clue what I'm doing. I don't think I'll ever know what I'm doing fully. Most of the time it's just trial and error, experimentation, and just seeing what looks best as you do it. I've just added a bit too much there where that whisker is, so I'm just gonna lift it off. But yeah, I don't know if anyone really knows what they're doing. All the time anyway. Just using dark sepia there. Right, now I'm gonna do this bit. So again, just putty eraser, just dabbing those pencil lines away. And just adding that just all over that section and bringing it up just before we get to these like sideways hair strokes. I'm just bringing it up there. And again, Nougat, probably the most used colour in this tutorial. I'm just going to start mapping in the hair here. Making sure to leave this section a bit lighter, so I'm just, there's actually a pencil line there, just going to dab that away. And I'm just going to add a bit of warm grey one. I literally had that pencil, oh there it is. Just to the top of this bit. Like that. And now I'm just gonna use Nougat. Just there. And just bring it up a little bit. There are a few more darker markings here, but I'll do that after this. It's just getting the direction of the fur at this point. I feel like I'm fully losing my voice. Right, now I think I just need a bit of dark sepia to add in those markings that are getting a bit lost. So there's one going up here, so it goes like around here. So this is where it gets like confusing on the eyes. Right, so that goes like this. Right, and a little bit up there. Yes, like that. And this one, sort of like the main bulk of the dark bit ends there, and then it's sort of like gradually goes up a bit. I feel like I'm fully like talking to myself here to try and not get confused. Yeah, so it kind of meets this one. And a bit up here. Yeah. Right. And now I'm just going to add the little hairs in between, train them up. Just round that skirt. And then I'm going to just do these darker bits, just so it'll make a bit more sense. There's like a darker sort of line of fur there that so it goes all the way up. If you just do like a tiny bit at a time, it starts to make sense, I promise. Right, that is making a lot more sense now. Just darken that bit up. Add a couple more strokes in between. I'm just gonna bring that section down because it sort of like goes all the way down, so let's add a few darker hair strokes. and a few more down here. So it's like one continual line of dark fur. Right, that is much better. So I'm going to add a bit more nougat. Just to like blend these sections together a bit more. Gets a bit browner towards the edge here. And if you think that was confusing, wait till we do the ear. And there's a bit more brown at the end of this darker section, so I'll just concentrate that there. Right, I think we're ready to start the ear now. So I think we'll use, firstly I'll dab away a lot of these lines because they're very dark. Like that, I can only just see them now. And then I'm going to use warm grey 1 as a base all over these lighter little white hairs. So I'm just trying to really evenly and quite lightly add that as a base over this middle section. Could even do it pretty much to the edge in some parts. Wherever it's really yellow, you don't want to add this. So like towards the edges, I'll avoid those bits. Right, I'll leave it at that for now. I could always add a bit more after. So I'm going to use nougat to start mapping the hair out red. So I'm going to start from this corner. I usually do that just to make it a bit less confusing. And I'm just going to start adding a few little fur strokes to the edge just to keep it like, add a bit of a guide of where the ear starts. And then a few hairs there. Just bending round. And So just add in some little shapes. Just trying to draw in between those lighter hairs, concentrating it in this corner. Doesn't need to follow the picture exactly because that just will confuse you. Just like that. And then I'll do a few further down here. And it's like a longer hair sticking upwards here, so I will draw that in. Draw around it. It look like one of those weird triangle-y sort of shapes. And another one here. So it looks like there's a hair sticking up there. And then I'll carry on drawing the ones in this direction. And there's a few more sticky up hairs here. Again, just it's all just like weird little shapes that don't make a lot of sense on their own, but once they're all together, it's sort of like the eye makes sense of it. Do another one going this way. And another one. Then I'm going to start adding a few strokes to the middle. Really lightly. And there's kind of like a hair going up here as well, so I'm just going to faintly add a little darker section. And then start drawing some coming off of that. So now it looks like this hair is overlapping these hairs, if that makes any sense. It's very confusing, but it does become a bit more easy to do it after you've done quite a few of them. I'm holding the pencil quite like far up for this, so I'm doing a lot lighter, more like feather-like strokes. think I've just done that one way too dark. I'll just take a tiny bit of that colour off. That's better. And then I'm just gonna slightly draw a line of where this ear ends here. Like that. And it is quite pink, so it's kind of like pinky purpley. So I'm going to use brownish beige from Pablo's on top, just of these outer edges. So I'm just going to actually use warm grey 1. Just bring it to the edge now. Just on this edge. Just leaving this bit because I think I might add a bit more ivory there. And let's bring it up a little bit. And I'm just going to start using this brownish beige, doing the exact same thing as I was with the nougat, but just concentrating this on the outer corners, on the outer edge, sorry, where it's a bit more purpley. Drawing that little space between the hairs, little triangle shapes. Just sort of making it up really. Just trying to make it look like the hairs are going in all sorts of directions. Just going to slightly lighten that bit. And then they start sort of curling down here, so I'm going to focus the colour going up, and then just do one in the middle there, like that, just so it looks like the hairs are coming in different directions. Sort of doing a few longer strokes over the top. It's all very confusing. Then just gonna lift a bit of it off, like that. And I'm just going to use nougat again, just to start adding a few more little strokes on this right hand side, or the top of it. and I'm just gonna add a few more little strokes. It'll all start to make sense. And a few more shapes. Like that. I think I'm just going to darken this bit up. It's alright if the hairs overlap a little bit, that's kind of the look you want to go for anyway. Just going to add a few more. Sorry, this is with the brownish beige, not the nougat. Should have said. Just sort of overlapping on top a little bit. And then in a minute I'll use the eraser just to pick out those hairs a little bit more. Focusing that brownish beige on the edge again there. Just a few tiny little there we go. So it is coming together a lot more now. I'm just going to use my Tombow eraser. I'll use this one. I'm just going to start just doing a few strokes just to lift some of the colour off and add in a few more sort of like whiter strokes. You don't want to press too hard with this because it can make it look a bit mucky looking. Then I'm going to use nougat. I'm going to just darken this bit up here. Concentrating it in this corner. And just doing some downward strokes where these sort of like yellowy hairs cross over the white ear hairs. I'm just gonna bring them down a bit. Like that. so hard to achieve that like crossing over hair stroke look, but this is probably one of the easiest ways just to keep colouring in the space between the hairs. And I'm just gonna do another little darker section. It's quite brown here, so I'm just gonna outline that part a little bit more, and then make those brown sections a bit darker. As you'll see on the picture, there's like a browner bit here, so I'm just gonna bring that up like that, and bring the purple, the brownish beige purpley colour, bring that down a bit. I'm just going to intensify it here. Where it is a bit more like pinky purple. Now that we've got our shapes mapped in, and a tiny bit more here going upwards. And I'll do this little bit, this little like triangle shape. And I'm going to add a bit more just focusing it on the edge of the ear. It is starting to like make a bit more sense now. You have to get through that ugly stage where it just doesn't even look like anything. And I think I will add a little bit more of this brownish beige. Just blend it into this brown section. It is quite a complicated way to do it, but I think the way it looks once it's done is a bit more natural. And a few longer strokes just to blend it all together. Just a few at the top. It's just a case of like keep looking back and going over little sections until you feel like the colour is built up nicely. Like that. And you can, if you want, go back over it with a white pencil, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm just going to use a bit more nougat just to define that edge. And I think I'm going to start doing the yellow bit around the outside now. So I'm just going to add ivory. Just rub that line out slightly. I'm going to add ivory to this outer edge. Like a little dot on there. And a little bit around this edge. So now I'm just going to use nougat to sort of keep adding some fresh strokes just to define the edge of the ear. Then there's quite a few concentrated on this bit. Sort of drawing like a little line down just to define it more. And add a few more strokes to this middle bit. And I think we need some raw umber just to warm it up. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing, concentrating raw umber just to the edge. So it adds a nice bit of warmth. And just bring that down here a little bit as well. And a little bit down here, just to warm those hairs up a little bit. Not as much in that middle section. And actually, while I've got this, I'm just going to add a bit down here. then I think we need some dark sepia. It's looking a bit flat. So I'm just going to add some dark sepia first strokes just in here. And I think we need a few around this side. Just a few though. And definitely some towards this edge here of the ear and this little section. And a few more going up the outer edge of the ear. And then this side needs a lot more definition. So I'm just gonna add some dark sepia to the edge. Just gonna blend it in. This brown section. And I need some nougat. Just gonna line this edge of the ear till about 3/4 of the way down. And I'm gonna add some nougat into this bit, these purpley bits, some little strokes going in like an upwards direction. They're sort of like underneath these white hairs, so I'm going to try my best not to overlap them. Just going to define the edges a little bit more. Just making sure that we make this a bit more brown anyway. And then you can do a few actually coming off the ear if you want. Sort of just like a mixture of purple and brown throughout the ear, so I can add a few more strokes here. And then I think a tiny bit more nougat just at the bottom. Just wherever you feel like it needs a bit more of a brown tone. And I'm just going to add a few hairs with dark sepia just on this outer edge. A bit more definition. And I think just a tiny bit more, just kind of a bit more brownish beige. My dad's whistling. And a bit more dark sepia. And then I think we're not too far off done. Just gonna add a bit more of a umber just to warm the edge up, and a tiny bit more down. Just gonna glaze it over down the side of this ear. Like that. Just gonna add the odd tiny bit of dark sepia. Just to define a few of these strokes. Could honestly just go on forever and ever with this. But I think for now that will do, because you could literally keep adding more and more, and eventually you might ruin it. So for now I think I will leave it at that. Hopefully that was not too confusing for you, because I know the ear is like one of the most confusing bits to draw. Just gonna add a few little hairs coming off like that. But yeah, hopefully that wasn't too confusing to follow. I know it's probably not the easiest bit we've done yet, but yeah, let me know how you get on, and I'd love to see a photo of your drawing if you have drawn this with me. And yeah, give it a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe, and I'll join you next time for part 5. Thank you, bye!